back to my channel, y'all. This is the last time you'll see this background for a while. Well, actually ever. Today I am moving back home to be with my parents. I have lots of mixed feelings. Like, I moved out just for the summer. I had the experience of living alone for a month and living with a roommate for a month. I had a lot of unexpected like pros, but also a lot of unexpected cons. So I feel like this is just a good video if you're considering moving out, or if you're moving back home, just like mentally, if you're, I don't know how old you may be watching this, but I'm in my mid-20s. Well, I'm 24 going on 25, so just like, I don't know, lots of thoughts, lots of kind of advice, but kind of things I wish I knew. So I feel like this is gonna just be a really good video in general about life updates, changing, moving, because I honestly never realized how easy it was to just move. Like, this is not something that I planned. This was not on my vision board or my bingo card to move out for the summer. I really feel like it was very random. I feel like God really was like, yeah, you need this experience, and I'm just so glad. There were a lot of good days, but I did have some bad days, and it's just like, even when you get what you want, sometimes you don't even realize, like, okay, like when you have your own, I don't know, we're gonna get into it in the video, but the things I learned, like sitting with myself and just exploring the city, exploring like my likes and wants and needs, and just, I don't know, I did a lot of self exploration. I feel like it was a good summer. It was not what I thought it would be, but it was beautiful nonetheless. So if you want to hear about my experience, if you're considering moving out, moving back in with your parents, all of that, then stick around. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And car's loaded up. I just have to run a few errands while I'm in the city, so you know, because I'm going back to the suburbs. It's a cool hour drive, so I've got to go, but when I come back we'll get into it. So period. Thanks for watching. Oh my goodness, y'all, I worked up a sweat trying to get everything in this car. Oh, why is my indicator on? Just thank God, because literally a week ago, or was it earlier this week? No, a week ago, I was having car issues. I had to buy a new battery, like all these unexpected expenses, but I'm blessed. I got everything to fit in my little car, because when I moved in, we had to use my mom's big SUV, so I'm just really proud of the way I packed. I mean, not ideal for a car ride, but I can see out the back. It's the end of an era. Like, I don't have my thing to buzz in anymore. Like, I just, there's so many, like, it's like bittersweet. It's really bittersweet, but I feel good. And this is gonna be a journey, and it's gonna be a good challenge for me to make my own aesthetic even while living at home. And also, like, I'm encouraged to save, so yup. Anyway, I need to get some food. I'm literally moving, y'all, but like, I'm literally gonna go on my first work trip. So like, I move in, I have the weekend, and then I'm back traveling. Like, it's just a lot, but I'm blessed. I love my life. So yeah. Know my whereabouts. Gotta stop it. I don't know where. Back in my I was with my girl, never played. Hey babes, they were talking about how I moved back home after moving out for the summer. Now, when I first posted about this, it got a lot of like, oh my gosh, like, how did you do this? Like, what was your reasoning? Like, how did you like it? All the like pros and cons that kind of took me by surprise, dealing with the financial element of it as well as like the mental part of it. So if you want to know what I learned from moving out and why I'm moving back home and things I might have done differently and what I know now for when I actually move out, keep on watching. I can't express to y'all enough how invaluable this summer was to me. Like, I really feel like God literally just placed the opportunity in front of me, and I was able at the time to afford it and to just take a chance and do it. And when those things happen, when things just align, you have to take the chance. Now, how did I do it, y'all? Hold on, because I have my notes out because I want to make sure I get into everything. The last time I was moved out was when I was in college. Now, I'm class of 2020. Shout out the pandemic grads. Will forever be the greatest because of what we went through. And I had roommates. I love y'all if you're watching. And it's just not the same. Like, I've been at home for 4 going on 5 years, and I just felt like it was time to switch it up. It wasn't necessarily anything super duper wrong with living at home, but I feel like if you're a grown adult, well, not really, because it's like, I'm not really grown for real. It's like, I'm grown, I guess, in the eyes of the law, but it's like, in your parents' house, you're always going to be considered the child. And when you're becoming your own person and you're figuring out your likes and dislikes and you're learning things and unlearning things and realizing some things, and it's just a lot. Everybody's like trying to do their best, but I feel like there's always like a viral tweet or meme that goes around where it's like living with your parents is free except you pay, like, you know, like with your mental health. Like, it's just like nothing. Again, love my parents dearly, love them, but it's just like I was at a space where I needed some space. I needed some space to think. I needed some space to be myself and to just be alone. Like, you know how you feel like you have a safe space? Like, for me, one of my safe spaces is the car. And it's like when I come home from wherever I'm at, there used to be times where I'd be in my car for 2-3 hours before I go inside, because I was just in so much like peace in my car, listening to music, just scrolling, just like not having anybody question me about anything, just like, and I don't know, maybe I'm neurodivergent or something, but sometimes I get so overstimulated and it's just like the smallest things, like just being in the same room as me, like I just sometimes want to be left alone. And I don't want to say that to sound ungrateful or to sound any type of way, but it's just like I love my family, but sometimes I need my space and I'm unable to get my space when living at home, especially being the only child. It's just like, oof, it's a lot. That's a whole nother thing. Just going through life as an only child who's hyper independent and has never really had a romantic relationship to lean on. Plenty of friends. It's just like, I'm getting off topic. Basically, I needed to move out for my own peace of mind at the time, and the opportunity came to me and I took it. A friend of mine happened to be in search of a subleaser for her roommate, and she was going to be abroad for a month. So I was able to just move in and have the place to myself for an entire month. And that was honestly the best, y'all. Like, somebody played New Apartment by Ari Lennox, like just being there, just being in a new space, like literally just blasting music or walking around in whatever I wanted to wear or not wear. Like, it was just amazing. Like, the first month I was just really learning about myself. I was spending time with myself, and honestly, y'all, this is where we're gonna get into some of the unexpected pros and cons. As I was saying, the decision to move out was based on just my desire for independence, for self-exploration, and for my peace of mind at the time. That's what I needed, and I'm always gonna tell you to prioritize your peace. And y'all, it does not have to be hard. I needed a change of environment. Sometimes you literally need a change of scenery, and there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes you literally need to change your environment, change your surroundings for personal growth. And if you're not new here and you're true here, you know that personal growth, self-development is very near and dear to me, and it's really important. So that was that. Let's get into the how. So I have my agenda here. Let's get into the how I made it happen. So again, I told y'all how it happened. Like, I literally was scrolling on Instagram one day. I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to move out. And then I saw her post about she needed a subleaser. And so I was like, oh my gosh, period. And I actually, like, I inquired about it. I looked at my finances, my budget, and I was like, okay, I can do this. Now, I am not at the place where I want to be to move out into the place I want to be by myself. As we know, rent has increased. Whew. Let me just breathe, because I can't even explain to you the context of the conversation I had. But it's just like, obviously I want to move out, obviously, but I also want to move out in a place where I'm going to like it, and I'm gonna like the amenities and like all the things that I want. Unfortunately, I can't really afford that right now. That's not to say I will never afford it, because as you know, I dream big, and my life could change literally tomorrow, and the bag could hit tomorrow, and then I will be able to afford it, and I will, regardless, in Jesus' name, in God's timing. But it's just like, right now, the high rise and the stainless steel and the marble, that's not in the budget right now, especially without a roommate. So I took what I got. If this is something that interests you, like, and you just want to try it, you want to see what it feels like to move out, there's literally month-long stays you can do on Airbnb or VRBO, or check and see if somebody in your network needs a subleaser. Like, these are things that just like you don't have to move out and sign a 12-month 15-month lease. Like, there are other things. You need a break, you need to change the scenery. There's ways to make that happen. So just think creatively, get outside the box is what I'm trying to say. Think about your budget. Like, you know, I didn't have to pay an application fee. I didn't have to put down, you know, first and last month and utility this and that. Like, it was, you know, okay, I'm gonna spend this much for just 2 months. Like, that's the summer and that's that. Like, it was perfect. It was a temporary thing, and that's what I could handle at the moment. And so look at your finances, be for real with yourself, because you don't want to move into a place. And also, when you're subleasing, like, they already have the furniture and all of that, like all those moving costs that you have to think about when you move out for real, like, they're not there when you do it temporarily as just, you know, a chance to get your feet wet or to just like change your scenery. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and we'll get into this later, like all the unexpected cons and pros and like things I had to buy. It wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been if I moved out fully, but you know, it's just something to think about. Because it was the summer, I did overpack for sure, but like I have all my like appliances and like clothes because, you know, I'm stepping into my fashion girly era. What else did I bring? I brought lots of stuff for the kitchen, but then they also had a whole bunch of stuff, so I was able to use that. Like my skincare, my makeup, like it was really mostly clothes. I did not need to bring as many clothes as I did, but yeah, just like moving was such an experience, and it came and went. It was a really rewarding experience. So next we're gonna get into like what I learned the first month living alone versus like living with a roommate. Basically, living alone was amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I love my own space. I've talked about this on my channel, y'all. I am no stranger to doing things alone. Grew up as an only child. I have learned to love my own company. I do so many things solo. I've been to a solo concert, solo movie, solo restaurant, solo workout class, solo event. Like, I do things by myself because you can't wait on people, and it's no guarantee that you'll have somebody who always wants to go. So I say all that to say that living alone was not like, oh my gosh, like I'm alone. Like, that was not my experience. But if you're somebody who's always has to have somebody, then that's something to think about. Like, oh my gosh, like, because it was nice the second month when my roomie was there. Like, it's like an added layer of like, oh, there's somebody here, like we have a little small talk, you know, like whatever. But living alone also, you have to do the things by yourself. Like, if there was a bug, luckily, praise the Lord, no bugs. But it was like, okay, like somebody else, I have to kill it if there's a bug. Or like me just taking out the trash, cleaning up the place. Like, you're responsible for everything when you live alone. So that's something to think about. The first month, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I was like, oh, I'm moving to the city. I'm outside, as in like literally outside walking, like trying new things, not like outside because I also have to be real with myself. That's just not for me. That's a whole nother conversation. Ooh, that's another conversation. Ooh, that's another conversation. I just had a content idea. Make sure you subscribe because I'm switching up my content. I'm talking to y'all more. Like, there's so much I have to discuss. So we're gonna yap. But anyway, basically, when you live alone, there's nobody forcing you to leave the house. And when I was alone, I was like, oh, I'm about to be doing this, that, and the third. Y'all, for the first week or two, honestly, I was just in the house processing all my thoughts, my emotions, like things like my expectations, like just a lot that was going on in my head that I was unable to really process because I was living at home and just having to interact with other people and do all that stuff. Like, all those thoughts and feelings that I've been suppressing and just like ignoring, they came to the forefront. When you're by yourself in the space alone, like, you have time to really think about these things that I've been avoiding thinking about, things that I was distracted from. And it was a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot at first. And luckily, like, I had that space to be alone and to process things and to cry and to scream and to be angry and to be silent for however long I wanted to be. But then I came out of it. So it's just like, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for that time, for that space. I'm grateful that I had that time immediately and that, like, I didn't have a roommate at first and then I had the roommate because I really needed that time, and I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for that. But I didn't expect that. As I said, I expected to hit the ground running, and I hit that couch and I processed and I journaled and I prayed and I had therapy, and I needed that space to just woo-saw all the things, you know? So be mindful, be prepared for that, but know that you'll come out feeling better. It's good to enjoy your solitude, to explore the city, to have your own autonomy. Like, it's nothing like that to just go out. Like, if I wanted to go out at 3 a.m. to QT, I could do that and get a slushie or get some ice, or, you know, like, I just had that freedom. And it's just like, first of all, there's just more things closer to you when you're in the city versus when you're in the suburbs. It's different when you're living at home. I don't have a curfew, but I have a curfew, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's just undefeated to just go and come as I please, clean as I please, wear what I want, play what I want, vibe out how I want, and I miss it. I'm not gonna hold you, I miss it. So it's definitely good for my mental health after I, you know, felt the emotions, because unfortunately they're big feelings. Like, we all have things that we're going through that we're processing, and if you're watching this and you've been distracting yourself or you've been like trying to ignore it, I know it feels overwhelming, and obviously seek the help you need. But I'm telling you, like, I felt so much better after I let myself feel the emotions. They're big, they're scary, but they won't overtake you. So you know, that's just my little love and encouragement to you if you're going through anything like that. I also feel like I just got more confident in myself, like just being in my own space, experimenting with different things that I wanted to wear, experimenting with my hair, trying out new things in the city, going outside just in the city, like being seen by new people, new interactions. Like it was really good, and so I would recommend it to everyone. It might get lonely and you are in charge, like nobody's gonna tell you what to do, nobody's holding you accountable, nobody's like, oh, she hasn't come out of her room in days, like, you know what I mean? So just be mindful. Love my roommate down. I had some familiarity with her. Everybody's their own person and there might be a clash. Like this didn't happen with me, but let's say you and your roommate have different versions of what clean means, or you have different cleaning schedules, or you have different sleep schedules, or you know, different lifestyles. Like just if this is not somebody that you know and you've lived with before, like when you're rooming with somebody, you have to account for just them being in the space if sometimes you want to be alone, or them having guests over, or if they're quiet and you want to talk to them, or if they're loud and you don't want to hear that. Like there's so many things. Like I'm just saying hypothetical all because I had a great roommate experience. You have to be prepared for your roommate doing things that you might not want for your house, but it's like it's not your house, it's y'all's house. So you have to, like, having a roommate means you have to compromise on some things, and it was great. I loved having a roommate. It's like an extra layer of security, which I don't think I talked about. When living alone, it's like for the first couple weeks, every noise I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I was a little paranoid, but like having a roommate there, it's like, oh, like that's them and they're here, and like if we don't recognize the sound, we can talk to each other like, oh, did you hear that? Or like, you know what I mean? Like if I lock myself out, I could call my roommate, you know what I mean? So it's just like there's pros and cons to both, but ultimately I'm glad for the experience of having a roommate. I loved having that extra like person there, like having like it's good to not be lonely, like to talk to somebody, to like, hey, how are you, like just to have those like positive conversations, to have those laughs, to have those moments. But like I know when I move out again, for real, I want to move out alone so that I can have, there's nothing that beats the freedom and the peace of mind of having your own space, in my opinion. Like you can do whatever, you don't have to compromise, you don't have, if this is your place, this is your home, this is your space, this is your area, she can't do that to you. You're goated if you know that reference. But like, yeah, that's all I say on the matter. I'm so glad I got the experience. And if you financially, like, I'm not saying every roommate experience is going to be horrible. It could be great. That could be your best friend, that could be your bridesmaid, that could be your groomsman, that could be whoever. Like, so you never know. If you feel like you really click with somebody, like, you know, some people say don't room with your friends because you might ruin their friendship, but it's just like, use your discernment, see if you can really like mesh with somebody. If you really can't afford to move out by yourself, and you're toying with it, I say keep saving, keep on holding on until you can. But if you desperately just gotta go, you gotta move, and you need a roommate, then I understand that too, and just know that you're gonna have to compromise and just deal with some things. But it's fine, it's chill. But me personally, I'll be moving out alone, period. Now let's talk about me moving back home. You know how like after you go on vacation, like the flight back, and like you touch down, you're driving back home from the airport, and it's like, ugh, back to reality. That's kind of how I felt moving back. Again, love my family down, but it's just like, wow, I'm gonna miss the independence, I'm gonna miss the freedom, I'm gonna miss like, and again, I hope I'm not sounding like I'm living with tyrants. Like I literally love my family, and I honestly have a lot of freedom compared to some of the people in my life who live at home. But it's just like, again, there's nothing like your own space. Because as I talk about the pros of going home, these are going to be kind of the cons of living like outside of home. Just coming home knowing that there's going to be food, knowing that there's groceries, knowing that like, y'all, like, because when I moved, I'm like, okay, period, I'm settled in. And then I open the fridge and I'm like, oh, like I have to buy food, I have to cook, like all these things that you don't think about, right? So the comfort of home, the comfort of being able to walk down the hall to talk to my mom instead of just having to call her on the phone or FaceTime her on WhatsApp because, you know, she's team Android or whatever. Like, just the comfort of being in my childhood home, like, oh, safety as well. Because, again, please take this with a grain of salt, and with all due respect, I'm just being for real, y'all. The city is the city. The suburbs are the suburbs. I'm a suburban girl, okay? I'm sorry. I don't need the hustle and the bustle of the city every day. And also the people, the people in the city, I feel like they have that hustle and bustle. They'll talk to you. It was safer to walk in my childhood subdivision than to like try and do my hot girl walk around the city where I'm gonna be passing all different types of people, if you know what I'm saying. Like there was a situation where I felt kind of unsafe, and like I don't know, like I had to change my walking route in the city, and that hasn't happened in my suburban subdivision, and I don't want that to sound any type of way. I'm just being for real, like just the comfort of knowing like, oh, like whew, safety as a woman walking. I just felt more comfortable walking like at home versus walking in the streets of the city. Like coming back home is just like, okay, now I need to stack my money, because I think this is what it is. Before moving out temporarily for the summer, I didn't realize how accessible moving out is. Like to me, moving out always seemed like this big extravagant step that one takes in your life, but it's like some of y'all can move out tomorrow. Go on a tour, apply, and move. Like some of y'all are planning. And I'm not saying to not plan. I'm type A. Y'all know I love to plan. But it's just like some of you are like watching these videos and trying to like, you're like in planning overload, processing overload without the execution. It's just like moving is not as hard as we chalk it up to be. And just like literally I'm like, oh wow, like I could just up and move. Like if I wanted to, and if I had to just get out, I could find a roommate or two and we could split rent and I could be out, you know? You just gotta move. You just gotta go. You just gotta just be like, all right, God, like I'm taking this step. I feel like this is what I need to do, and I trust you to help me, you know? Like it might not be his plan A, but he's still not gonna have like take his hands off you, and I believe that personally. So I needed this move to kind of light a fire under me to be like, okay girl, like you can move, and you know the type of apartment you want to live in, you know what the cost is gonna look like every month, so you need to start grinding, you need to start saving, you need to start diversifying your income so that when the time comes you have this money saved and you can make that move. So I'm grateful for the experience, because it was like, okay Chris, like you can do this. Like you just need to start. Like I was taking no actions, I'm not gonna lie, I was taking no actions to actually save or budget, and that's really like what I have to say. Like I'm grateful for the experience because I had the time to process some things that I needed to process. I had the experience of having a roommate, so now I'm not gonna wonder about that, and now I know I want to live by myself. I had the experience of, you know, having to manage my time, having to cook for myself and grocery shop and figure out myself and my sense of style, and like monitor my surroundings, keep my head on a swivel, and like be closer to the city and figure out a new routine. Like I needed this experience to grow in so many different areas, to become more aware, to have more life experiences. And now I know that I want to move out, and now I have that fire under me to start saving, to start looking for these apartments, because I know it's like within my reach. Who knows when it's gonna happen? I'm just saying that I needed this, and I kind of looked at moving back in at home like as a failure of sorts, but it's like, well, number one, I always knew that I was moving out just for the summer. I was not like, oh, like it was literally a sublease for the summer. Like I was not going to be able to extend it, period. So it's just like moving back home, like for me, like comparison is a thief of joy, because there's people younger than me who are in their dream apartments and they've made it big, and there's people older than me who still live at home. So it's just like comparison is just so pointless. So all I have to say is like the mental part of it, of like, oh, am I where I should be on the social clock? Like I already kind of struggle with that, as I'm 24 pushing 25 and I've never been in a relationship. But it's just like, just because that hasn't happened doesn't mean it'll never happen, and just because this is my story and my timeline doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. And I'm trying to believe that, I'm trying to, but I feel like most of my friends have not, like, well, not all, but most of my friends are moved out. I've had a lot of friends like move out and move back home because of the rent increases, and everybody's in a very different part of their life, so I'm trying not to compare. But moving back home felt like, it almost felt like a step back, but it's a step with the new experiences, a step with a new mindset, a step with just like, okay, I needed that, and I'm so glad that God allowed that to happen for me, and now I can like move forward with those experiences guiding like my future. So overall, I'm just so grateful. That's what I learned. Let me look at my agenda. Next year I want to move out. 2025 dream apartment, that's what I'm working towards, praying for, and striving for. So I'll keep y'all updated. Obviously I really have to get serious about my finances and budgeting. I'm gonna be doing some research. If y'all have any videos or tips, definitely drop them down below, because saving, it doesn't have to be hard, but it seems kind of daunting because I like to spend. But just like switching my mindset and just getting serious about my goals and what I want, and like saving up for them, it's just something I need to do for my personal growth. And so that's just my next thing that I'm working on. And overall, I'm just beyond grateful. I'm grateful for the experiences. I'm grateful that it literally fell into my lap and I was at the point where I had the money and I could just step out and do it. I needed it, and I'm just grateful for everybody who I've interacted with over the summer in that space, like the people I met, the people I strengthened relationships with, the people that I got some much needed space from, the people, just like everything literally is always working out for me, and I rest in that. And I really hope you believe that for you too. If you're considering moving out, or if you're moving back in, or whatever has made you click on the video, let me know below, because I hope this was helpful in some way, shape, or form. I'm really just yapping about my life experience, but I know I can't be the only one who's wanted to do this, who has done this, who's thinking about doing this. So yeah, that's all I have to say. But you know, I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because I have lots of amazing content coming out. And of course, I'll be sharing more updates if you want to keep in touch on Instagram and TikTok at thatgirlchristelle. You know the vibes. Much love always, and I'll see you in the next video.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Say it.